Morning, everyone. So yes, Nick Hannan. I'm the chair of GasNZ. Very proud to be so. It's fantastic to see everybody here. Officially, welcome to the NZ Gas Forum 2024. It's amazing to see the number of people in the room and also looking at the attendee list, the breadth of representation that's here from across the industry and from across related segments. So very pleasing. I think it's a signal that gas is front and centre right now, as we would all be aware. The other great thing is that we have international friends here with us as well, people from Australia and Japan. So I appreciate those people making the effort to come over here. Again, I think a signal that gas is right up there in terms of levels of interest. I'd like to also recognise my fellow board members in the room today. These are the people that you can accost with the difficult questions, therefore avoiding me. So Ben Gerritsen is over there. Hi, Ben. Gillian Stannard from Vector Omgas is over there. Neil Crooks, I spotted there as Neil. Yep. And Ron Woollerton is there. There's Ron from Bob's Gas, new member of the board. So welcome, Ron. Great to see full representation. We do have a couple of absent board members, unfortunately, today. So 2 years ago, we were in Wairaki in Taupo. Some of you may remember. I'm sure some of you were there. What's changed? Well, how long have we got? Quite a lot has changed since that time, right? I suppose the change of government is probably the thing that is the biggest issue for us, and I think generally speaking in a good way. I think what we're seeing from this government is a positive level of pragmatism around what's needed in the energy sector and particularly in the gas sector. We'll hear shortly after this from Minister Brown, who I think is, pretty much underlining what I just said. The tagline you may have spotted for the conference, or hashtag the gas matters, I think is quite important, and it's part of the change. I think under the previous regime, really gas didn't matter so much to them, and that's been a big swing. Partly we call this theme Gas Matters because we're here to talk about gas matters. If I just do the emphasis here, gas matters, right? That's the agenda. But gas matters, right? Would anybody disagree with that? And I'd also like to say that I think while the government is obviously very focused on, as they call it, keeping the lights on, as we look forward, gas will continue to matter. It's going to matter tomorrow. It's going to matter next week. It's going to matter next year. It's going to matter in 2050. And 2050 to me is a sort of a convenient placeholder because it's the middle of the century. I believe gas will matter long beyond that, in whatever form it may be. There may well still be natural gas as we know it today in the mix, and LPG as we know it today, but also, of course, I'm sure, far more renewable in the mix as well. But gas will matter. And I also think, we often see various camps saying, well, it's electricity, or solar needs its place in the sun, or wind is a breeze. Sorry, come on. Play along with me here, and they all do. They all matter. And I think in the energy consumption world going forward, all forms of energy are going to matter. But for us here, gas matters. I also wanted to look at some of the change that's gone on with the association itself over that period. And clearly the biggest change is the merger of the former LPGA and GANZ into what we now know as GasNZ, which was a major piece of work. It's turned out, I believe, pretty successfully, and very pleased to now have a unified group fronting the industry. We have a new chief executive. Jeffrey introduced himself before. Nice to have Jeffrey on board. He's been the mastermind behind this agenda, and I think hopefully everyone will agree it's pretty interesting. So great work. As part of Jeffrey's role, he's been starting some work now with us on the strategy for the association, and we'll cover that off. He and I'll have a session on that. I think it's tomorrow morning. Talk to you a little bit more about where we see the association heading. But my view on that, in summary, is that given the role the new government's taking and the positioning they're taking, the association's role is now heightened in terms of our potential to lead the industry and wider sectors in setting the roadmap for gas into the future. So that's our intention. That's what we'll talk a little bit more about tomorrow. And the other change, minor change, supply constraints on natural gas. But I don't think I need to say too much more about that. But, it's just a flavour of what's been going on around this industry over the last year or couple of years. I think the agenda, as I was saying before, reflects some differences between the previous conference and this one. And the main change, when I look back and compare them, is that both are very forward-looking. Both agendas, obviously, we're looking to the future here and where we might go in the sector, what the products might look like in the sector, how we're going to get there. But the change, I think, that's noticeable in this agenda is there's actually a shorter, medium-term focus as well, particularly this morning. Because frankly, we can't avoid it. We have to address the current situation as an industry and make it work for the consumer and all, whether that's industrial, residential, we have to pull together and make it work for all those customers. So, very, I think, exciting couple of days ahead. I'm looking to you to contribute as much as possible. We would love to hear, lots of interaction with the presenters, lots of questions, challenges, throw those out as well, of course. But I'll look forward to see when I do my wrap-up on, Friday, Jeffrey, what's come out of the conversations. Hoping it'll be something very productive and positive and optimistic, because I'm optimistic. You can probably tell that ALGAS is fairly optimistic about the gas industry based on what's going on at the moment. So with that, talking of positive and optimistic and pragmatic, I will hand over to Minister Simeon Brown to give us his views on the sector. Thanks.
Thank you, Nick, for the introduction, and to Gas New Zealand for inviting me to speak today at this Gas New Zealand forum. I'm sorry I can't be with you, but it's great to be able to join online. This government is focused on making sure we have a secure supply of energy to keep the lights on, maintain our international competitiveness as an export nation, and keep energy affordable for Kiwis. The last few months have demonstrated just how important gas is to the security of New Zealand's energy system. Gas supply has been tight for some time, but the recent forecast showed supply was getting much tighter, much faster than we thought. This has had significant flow-on impacts to electricity prices and is heavily affecting businesses and industries that rely on gas. This government has been clear that we will need more gas to support New Zealand's energy security, maintain competitive export industries, and act as a firming fuel for our increasingly renewable electricity sector. This government has moved quickly to approve a raft of actions to address the serious energy shortages we are facing. The government stood up the Gas Security and Response Group in May to coordinate with the energy sector on solutions to the tight gas supply. And I want to thank the sector members for their participation in this group. We've also taken further action in response to the subsequent energy security challenges that arose in August. This year we faced the lowest hydrological year since 1992, and we had less wind than expected, as well as a significant downgrade in gas supply. We therefore announced that we're taking further action to urgently reverse the offshore oil and gas exploration, with legislation to be passed by the end of 2024, remove regulatory barriers to enable the construction of critically needed facilities to import liquefied natural gas, ease restrictions on electricity lines companies owning generation, and ensuring access for gentailers to hydro contingency. But we also need to improve the electricity market regulation. The previous government's ban on offshore oil and gas exploration had a detrimental effect on future gas development. Gas supply forecasts were already bleak when we set out our plan to repeal the ban and look to other measures to encourage future gas development. Thousands of households, businesses, consumers and industry rely on gas, as does our electricity system, and will continue to need gas for electricity firming as we build more wind and solar generation and our supply of electricity becomes increasingly reliant on favourable weather conditions. But bringing new gas supply online will take time. The government is focused on the practical and what we can achieve today, as well as what we need to do to prepare for what will happen in decades to come. That is why we're speeding up the reversal of the ban on oil and gas exploration and working to remove regulatory barriers to enable importation of LNG as a stopgap measure to shore up the energy supply. There are other opportunities too, and I'm looking at these closely. As Gas New Zealand notes, there is no shortage of LPG supply in New Zealand, and its portability provides for resilient energy supply across the country and in trying circumstances. Portable LPG played a crucial role in the aftermath of the Christchurch earthquakes and Cyclone Gabrielle and could help us here too. I know Gas New Zealand has been one of the organisations leading the way for renewable gases like biogas, biomethane, renewable LPG and green hydrogen as sources of gas we can use into the future while also reducing carbon emissions. We have the opportunities to bolster and diversify our domestic gas supply with renewable gases, and this sector is leading the way on this and doing impressive things. Great strides are also being made with biomethane, with EcoGas and Claris working together to inject biomethane made from organic waste into the gas network. I note there are other projects like this on the way too, like those under consideration by PowerCo to produce biomethane from existing activities like landfills and wastewater treatment plants. All require investment, coordination and technical know-how. It is impressive to see these coming along. This government has been clear of the important role gas plays in the New Zealand economy and the role it will continue to play in the energy future. We're committed to working alongside Kiwi businesses and households, removing the regulation which gets in the way so that Kiwi households and businesses can have the gas supply that they need. We've moved quickly to address the current energy shortage and ensure gas supply in the short term, and are working urgently to address the security situation we're now in. Ours is a government that wants to see you all doing more of what you do, and we want to enable you to do it. I look forward to working with you in the future to deliver clean, affordable and secure energy for all New Zealanders. I hope you have a great forum. Thank you very much for having me.
Very good message, as I was hoping. Very, very positive, forward-looking message there from the Minister. So it's great to start off with strong support. Personally love the vote for LPG that he put into the speech there, because we broadly talk about gas, and Minister Jones, Mr Brown broadly talk about gas, but within that LPG has a distinct and very important role as well. So we're going to kick off each morning of the conference with a health and safety moment, because that is so critical to everything that we do in this sector. And to take us through this morning's, and I think tomorrow morning's health and safety moments, I'd like to introduce Louisa George from Genesis, who's I think the leader of our HSE committee in the association. So Louisa, over to you. Thanks very much.
Kia ora koutou katoa. I'm Louisa George, Chair of the Health and Safety Committee for GasNZ, and also the Safety and Wellness Partner for Genesis LPG. We thought it would be a great idea to kick off with a couple of safety initiatives on each of the days, and I'm really pleased to share with you our initiatives coming through from the committee of the LPG Burns card. Many of you will be conversant with the process safety and risk bow ties that we use across our businesses to identify adverse events, threats, controls, and on the right-hand side, typically we're looking at a strong, robust recovery, which is where we like to see our LPG Burns card sitting. The Burns card has arisen through Sarah Kipax from Claris, who worked and saw a bitumen Burns card through construction and roading, and she identified that we were missing a bit of a trick in LPG. We've heard the horror stories about how LPG burns treated the wrong way can end up with degloving, loss of skin, severe impacts on the individuals who experience those burns. So what we're looking to do with the Burns Card initiative is to get the right information to the right people at the right time. It's a small concept, but we hope it's going to mean that we get a reduced severity when there is a burn. The intent is to provide these in both a pocket size that can be worn on our people who are out doing the mahi across our sites, and also some larger sizes that will be available in first aid kits or in trucks and in other situations around installations. Did we have a copy of that pop up on the screen at all? There we go. So this is the design here. We're just finalising the details at the moment around how we'll make that available to everybody. So bear with us as we get that information through to you. And if you've got any questions or any comments, or if you've got any insights that you want to share with the Health and Safety Committee, please come and talk to me over the next few days, and I'll look forward to catching up with you. Thank you very much.